The word sequence here now, that means the events, actions, numbers, um, which have a particular order and which leading to the particular result. For example, he described the sequence of events events leading up to the robbery. The word concerto here now, that means a piece of music for one or more solo instrument playing with an orchestra. For example, a piano. A piano concerto. The word precede is a verb uh, that means to happen before something or come before something or somebody in order. Um, that means the type of cloud that precedes rain. The word lecture here now, that means to give a talk or series of talks um, to a group of people on a subject on a subject uh, on a subject, especially as a way of teaching in a university or college. For example, mm, he lectures in Russian literature. The word lobby here now, that means a large area inside the entrance of a public building where people can meet and wait. For example, I'll meet you in the entrance lobby. The word freshman here now, that means the rinse and a small amount uh, of food that are provided or sold to people in a public place or at a public events. Um, for example, the light refreshments will be reserved during the break. The word pass is a verb uh, that means an official document or ticket that shows that you have the right uh, to enter or leave a place, to travel on a bus or train. There is no there is no admittance without a security pass. The word escort in now, the first that means a person or a group of people or vehicles that travels with somebody or something in order to protect or guard them. For example, soldiers on escort duty. Second, that means a person, especially a man, who takes somebody to a particular social events. Uh, for example, I escorted her to the event. The word accompany is a verb that means to travel or go somewhere with somebody. For example, his wife, uh, his wife accompanied him on the trip. The word cooperation is a noun that means willingness to be helpful and do as you are asked. For example, we would be grateful for your cooperations in for your cooperation in clearing the horn as quickly as possible. The word purchase is a verb. That means something that you have bought. For example, where did you purchase the car? The word checkout is a noun. That means the place in the supermarket where you pay for the things that you are buying. For example, why can't I have more checkout open? The word receipt is a noun. That means a piece of paper that shows that goods or service have been paid for. For example, uh, can I have a receipt, please? The word returned. The word return um, that means the actions of giving or putting or sending something or somebody back. For example, I returned the book to the bookshelf. The word renowned is now that means famous and respected. Uh, for example, an Iceland renowned for its beauty. The word finance is a verb that means to provide money or for a project. For example, the concert the concerts are financed by the art council. The word turnout um, turnout that is now that means the number of people who attend a particular event. For example, this year's festival uh, attracted a record turnout. The word parade that means now that means a public separation of a special day or event, usually with bands in the streets and decorated vehicles. For example, a victory parade of a Vietnamese football team. The word mayor is now that means the head of the government of, of a town or city, uh, elected by the public. For example, the mayor of New York. The word barbecue is now uh, the first mean a metal frame for cooking food on over an open fire outdoors. For example, I put another steak uh, on the barbecue, and the uh, the second mean that is an outdoor meal uh, or party when food is cooked uh, in this way. For example, um, let's have a barbecue. The word firework is a noun. That means a small device containing powder that burns or explodes and produce bright color lights and loud noise. That means, for example, John were in the backyard uh, setting up the firework. The word session is now that means a period of time that is spent doing a particular activity. Uh, for example, a training session for teachers about computers. The word The word hatred is an adverb. That means if you do something hatred, you become involved in it too quickly, without having time to think about it carefully. For example, uh, a remark that sent him uh, tumbling headfirst into another con, controversy, into another controversy. The word tour is a verb that means to travel around a place. For example, the minister had been invited to tour the new factory. The word luxury is a noun that means a thing that is expensive and enjoyable but not essential. For example, luxuries like chocolate and perfume. The word recipe is a noun that means a set of instructions that tells you how to cook something and the ingredients you need for it. Assemble is a verb that means to fit together on the separate parts of something, or for example, a piece of furniture. Example, the shelves are easy to assemble. The word measure is a verb that means to find, decide, or quantity of something in standard units or linking verb. To be a particular size, length, or amount. For example, the main bedroom measures 10 feet by 10 feet. The word ingredient is a noun that means one of the things from which something is made, especially one of fruits are used together to make a particular dish. For example, the food is home cooked. The food is home cooked. Uh, the food is home cooked using fresh ingredient. The word bake um, is a verb that means to cook food in an oven in an oven without extra fat or liquid. For example, Morgan baked a cake for me. The word taste is now that means the sense you have that allows you to recognize different foods and drinks um, when you put them in your mouth. For example, I don't really like the taste of mustard anymore. The word hang up. The word hang up is a verb that means to finish a telephone conversation. For example, I said goodbye and hang up. The word speech is a verb that means a formal talk that a person gives to an audience. That, for example, to give a speech on human rights.